everyone, it's Taylor. In today's video I'm going to show you how I curl my long fine hair and how I get it to last even in the humid, rainy Seattle weather. This is something I have been trying to figure out for years. It always seemed pointless to me to curl my hair because I couldn't get it to last for more than a few hours because it's so straight. So if you struggle with this or you just want to see how I got this look, then just keep watching. So I start out by brushing out my hair really well after I take a shower. And in the shower, I use a volumizing shampoo and conditioner from Beauty and Planet. You can just find that at Target. And I use that because I have really fine, straight, oily hair. So I need all the extra volume that I can get. And because of that, I don't actually put any product in my hair when it's wet. I don't put any serums, oils, anything like that because I find that it just weighs my hair down. Obviously, if you need that, then go ahead and use it. So next I'm going to blow dry my hair and I start out by just trying to get it at a damp, workable level. Now this is just a blow dryer that I found at Costco one year. I think it's from Revlon probably. I don't really think that you need an expensive blow dryer. I've had them before. I've had the T3, T4, whatever they're called. I've had a lot more expensive blow dryers and I don't find that much of a difference in them. I do think it's a good idea to use the attachment that I have here on it at the end that you can see. I don't actually know what that's called though, but pretty much all blow dryers come with it, and I do think that it's a good idea to use it. So it probably takes me about 15 minutes to blow dry my hair. And here you can see I do flip my head upside down and blow dry my hair upside down. I find that it really helps with the volume of my hair at the end because it is so fine and straight. I know people that have more texture in their hair probably would never do this because their hair would get really frizzy and huge, but I don't have that problem. That being said, if you are going to blow dry your hair like this upside down, it really doesn't do that much unless you also cool it this way at the end that you'll see me do at that point. Okay, so this is the point where I basically am telling my hair how I want it to lay at the end of everything, even after I curl it. So it's kind of that muscle memory. It's going to stay how you dry it. So right now I'm taking my fringe and I'm using a round brush here just to brush the fringe forward so that after I curl my hair, it's going to lay, slightly on my forehead and then sweep away. So again, just taking taking the fringe here and blow drying it forward. And it will also give it some volume against my forehead there in the front. Okay, so now I'm just continuing to blow dry my hair and get it really dry. I'm using the round brush here mostly because I find that it helps get all of the hair dry, down to the roots. It's also because I got a perm about a year and a half ago, and I still have some remnants there in the end of my hair of that curl. I can't believe it's lasted that long. But like I said, I also just did get my hair cut again, and so some of that is now gone. But it helps smooth out that curl just so that when I do curl my hair with the curling iron at the end, that it will kind of accept and hold that curl, the curl that I want it to, rather than what's left over from that perm. So now I am giving some volume to the back of my hair right here, and again, also telling basically the hair how I want it to lay. So that it's not trying to part in some weird way at the back of my hair. So I'm blow drying it all together and blow drying right at the root forward to give that some more volume. So now I'm just continuing to blow dry the rest of my hair, doing the same thing with the round brush, just smoothing out the ends so that it will curl the way that I want it to at the very end. It's not that I'm trying to curl it under or anything here. I just find that it helps to dry it and kind of separate it out when I use the round brush. And it also gives a really smooth, shiny finish so that when I curl my hair, it does look really shiny and healthy. Just continuing to blow dry here. Again, I flipped my head upside down to get some more volume in those roots and just kind of dry out the back of my hair. Like I said, it does take me about 15 minutes to dry my hair. I have found over the years that probably the most important thing in making sure that your curls last and then it holds the curl is that your hair is completely dry. For years, I thought that my hair was dry when I was done blow drying, but it really wasn't. A good indicator for whether or not it's dry enough is that when you turn off your blow dryer and you think you're done, if your hair pretty much immediately cools down and feels cold, then it's probably not dry. It should hold that heat when you're done blow drying. It should be hot for several minutes afterwards. Okay, so I finally think that I'm done blow drying here. And then I'm just going to brush out my hair, really feel it, see what the temperature is of it, get some hair out of my mouth, because that always happens, and try to decide if it's dry or not enough. And then, of course, I need a tea break because blow drying your hair is really hard work. And then I decided that my hair, of course, was not dry enough. So I went back in and blow dried it some more. Like I said, it's just really, really important that your hair is completely dry before you start curling, or all of that effort that you put into curling is going to mean nothing and it's going to fall in a couple of hours. Okay, this time I decided that I'm actually done blow drying. So now it's time to curl our hair. Yay! So I'm using the Hot Tools curling iron here. I really like this one. I think that is the 3/4 inch. And I'm going to heat that up. You could, of course, do that before, but this one heats up so quickly that I can just do it at the end of when I blow dry. And I do have that curling iron on the hottest setting. So first I brushed out my hair really well to make sure that there were no knots in it from blow drying. And then I'm going to section it off. I curl my hair in 3 sections, starting at the bottom, of course, because it's just much easier to get to the bottom layers when your top is not already curled. So this is the main product that I use, and it is hot off the press from Paul Mitchell. I honestly don't know if they still sell this. I found it a couple of years ago, and when I found out that it worked super well for me, it really helps hold the curls. It's a thermal protectant hairspray, I believe, and it really helps with humidity and weather. So when I found out that it worked really well for me, I think I bought like 4 cans, and I only curl my hair probably a couple times a month, so it's not like I've gone through it that quickly, and you need so little that I haven't had to repurchase. So I'm not really sure if they still carry it, but I'm spraying it over all of my hair at once. Sometimes I do it section by section. It just depends how I feel, but I'll do it on top and then underneath my hair. So we're finally going to start curling here. And as you can tell, I start by curling close to the root of my hair, and then I bring it down to the ends or the tips of my hair. And I kind of have my thumb on the lever at all times to make sure that it's not crimping my hair in a weird place. Another tea break here because that's necessary. I am curling my hair away from my face, and I hold it for about 30, 45 seconds. A lot of times I'll feel the hair on the barrel, and that will give me an indicator if it's hot enough. And then I release it down in a spiral fashion. And then I'm just going to curl the rest of this side of my head and this section in that same manner, making sure to not get sections that are too big, so like 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and then making sure that you hold it long enough and then just releasing it down in that spiral fashion. So again, I do start closer to my head, so I curl that portion of my hair first to try to give it more volume with my finger on the lever there so it's not crimping it in a weird way, and then I'll go down to the ends and curl the rest of the length. Once I finish curling that section of hair, I just spray it again with the thermal heat protectant. It just really helps resist humidity and really sets it and holds it in. So now I'm curling the other side of this section on this side of my head in the exact same way. So taking about 1 inch to 1.5 inches section and then curling it away from my face. So curling the portion closest to my head first. And then I have my finger on the lever here, like I said before, to prevent it from putting a crimp in my hair. And then I feed the rest of my hair through the barrel until I get to the ends. And I make sure that the ends are just wrapped up in the rest of the hair, not crimped under that barrel there. So then I'm just going to do that with the rest of the hair on this side of my head. So I'm going to push all of that hair that I just curled to the back, and then I'm going to get my next section of hair ready to curl. So now that I've got that section clipped up out of the way, I'm going to brush through the next section of my hair and then spray it with the hot off the press heat protectant again, top and bottom, making sure that I really get all of the length of my hair. And then I'm going to take small sections again, 1 to 1.5 inches, and then starting closer to my scalp, just like I was before, and then going down to the length of my hair. Just keeping in mind, the closer you get to the top of your head, the more important it is not to have those crimp lines. So kind of keeping your thumb on that lever and making sure that you're not clamping down on an upper portion of your hair, giving yourself that annoying, ugly line. I'm still releasing it in that spiral fashion down, making sure I hold it for about 30 to 45 seconds before I release it. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the rest of my hair on this side of my head. So once I finish that side, I'm going to spray it again with a thermal heat protectant spray to make sure that that really sets before I move. Moving on to the other side of my head here, I've already sprayed this with the thermal heat protectant spray, and now I'm doing the same thing I did on the other side, curling it away from my face, and then I'm starting closest to the root of my hair, curling, holding that for a second, then going down to the lengths of my hair, keeping my thumb kind of on that lever there, just to make sure that I don't get that crimping line. Again, holding it for about 30 to 45 seconds before releasing it in that spiral fashion. Okay, so then I'm going to set this section before I move on to the top of my hair, making sure that this stays really well. And then I'm going to try to push it to the back of my head here before I bring down my top section and curl that layer. Now I did go ahead and spray this whole section with the hot off the press spray before I get started. And then I'm taking my whole back section and I'm going to curl that all as one rather than part that and create a part back there, because I only want the part to go about midway back on my head, and then I want all of this to be one smooth section. So it doesn't matter which direction you curl it, as long as you're still curling it in the spiral. And then I'm not going to rest the barrel of the curling iron too close to my scalp, because I don't want it to create a weird bump right there, and then it won't lay the way that I want it to, like when I blow dried it. So I'm going to hold this one for a little bit longer, just making sure that it really gets all the way down to all of the hair that's wrapped in that barrel, because I really want it to stay and be voluminous. So now I'm going to create the parts where I want my hair to ultimately lay at the end. So I like to do it mostly in the middle, just slightly off-centered. And then this is actually the most important part of when you curl your hair. This is really going to decide what it looks like at the end. And this is where it's really important to make sure that you don't put crimping lines there in the top, because this is where it will be really visible. You know, for the most part, if you get some here and there throughout the rest of your hair, it'll pretty much be hidden. But if you do it right on the top of your head, you're going to be able to see it. And then I'm doing the same exact thing that I did for the rest of my hair. I'm just being really careful again to make sure that I really curl that top part of my hair, but I'm not getting it too close to my head to where the heat is going to make it lay in a funky way. So I keep it at least like 1 inch away from my scalp, and then I do that part that's closest to my head to get that curl, and then I go down to the ends of my hair. And then I might hold it for a little bit longer on these top parts, because I really want that curl to last. So probably about 45 seconds or so, and then I'm going to release it again into a spiral. And then this next part here is one of the ways that I've discovered of really making sure that there's no separation in the curls
on the top of your head. So what I do is I take the curl behind the section that I'm about to curl, and I take a portion of that section that I just curled, and I add it to the one in front so that it doesn't want to stay separated into those sections in weird parts on the top of your head. And I have found that that really helps it to all look seamless on the top there rather than being in those weird sections. And then the very frontmost part is super important for ultimately how you want your fringe and bangs to look in the front. So I still release it in that spiral fashion, but then when I let go of it, I tuck it behind the curl that was behind it to let it cool that way. So it's kind of cooling off of your face, and it wants to sit back a little bit away from your face when it has cooled completely. So then I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side, making sure not to get too close to my head so that it all kind of sits the way that I want it to. And what I was trying to show you with the fringe part right there is that I was pulling it forward so it created kind of that swoop effect onto my forehead. Then I'm going to do the very front part on the other side there, and then release it down in the spiral and then tuck it behind the curl behind it to let it cool while everything sets. And then I'm just pulling my bangs kind of forward, and then I let my hair cool like this for about 5 to 10 minutes until it is completely cool. Once that's done and it's completely cooled off and set, then I will come back and I actually brush through my curls with a paddle brush. Making sure to go over my part and just really get some volume in there, loosen up those curls. But like I said, it needs to be completely set before you do this. And this isn't brushing out my curls because they will all bounce back. It's just helping it to be kind of this smooth mass of curls and not all of these separate ringlets with, those weird parts going on. And then what I do is I'm going to flip my hair upside down, and I'm going to use a hairspray from Pureology. I actually really love. I had a hairdresser recommend it to me. I love it because it really holds, but it also adds volume, and it doesn't make your hair stiff or sticky. It's very movable. And like I said, you kind of saw there, I flipped my hair upside down, hairsprayed it, shook it out quite a bit, let it cool just a little bit upside down with the hairspray in there to set. And then I flip my hair back up and I start kind of spraying sections. I lift them up a little bit and spray a little bit of this and then hold that while it dries just to help give it some more volume close to the roots. And it depends on how much volume you want. I like a lot of volume because I don't typically have any. So that's a look that I'm really going for, but you can do as little or as much as you want. If you tend to have more texture and more volume, you could just kind of brush out the ends, rub a little bit of smoothing serum between your hands, run that through the ends of your hair, and that would probably be enough. But I need more texture than probably most people do. So this is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful, especially if you're someone with long, straight, fine hair. This is something I have really found that has worked for me. I wore this all day in Seattle, and it really holds up quite well, and my curls tend to last most of the day quite nicely. Make sure to like the video if you liked it and subscribe if you would like to see more content from me. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.